Federations are calling on workers to withhold their labour today. This is in protest against the rising costs of living, relentless power cuts and high unemployment rates. COSATU as well as SAFTU say this is the only way to wake government up to the reality on the ground. In Durban, workers will march from King Dinizulu Park to hand over memorandum at the City Hall. eNCA reporter Lethiwe Mdluli is there for us and joins us live. We also have Muloko Moloto who's in Limpopo for us. But perhaps to start with you, Lethiwe, how is it looking there? Have some of the marchers assembled already?
Well, Mfundo, at the moment we are at the King Dinizulu Park where we're expecting for the march to begin. Going to the City Hall here in Durban, we are expecting for this march to start at around 10:30 to 11 this morning. As you can see, members of COSATU are slowly gathering at the King Dinizulu Park, and we are expecting for them to march through and bring everything to a standstill in the city. These members are, of course, marching against the worsening living conditions in the country, the poor unemployment rate, and also the rising prices of food and poor governance, amongst other things. In June, we also saw COSATU in KZN marching against the high fuel prices in the country. We spoke to them during that march and they were saying that these poor living conditions in the country are unsustainable, especially for the working class and also the poor in South Africa. But right now I'm actually joined by the Secretary of COSATU here in KZN, Edwin Mkhize. Mr. Mkhize, thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. Take us through your march today. Why are you marching?
We are here as COSATU because in 2017, in fact, we have declared a dispute at the level of NETLEC, complaining about the economic challenges facing our country, saying that if nothing drastic done, we are going to have economic collapse in our country. And we said to government and business, they really need to do something in order to deal with this challenge. Currently, we see that there is serious investment strike by business. And also, even from the side of government, we can see that really it looks like there is no grasp, there's no understanding of what kind of challenges, the plight that is facing our people on the ground. And we have come out today as COSATU just to send that message, to give warning to government, to say something needs to be done, to say you can't have a situation where the unemployment rate in our country is going up to 40%, because if you talk about the employment rate that is above 36%, that really something that you must be worried about. When you talk about the issue of youth unemployment, which is above 66%, the 10 million people that are in 350 grand, which in itself is not enough. So we're saying that as COSATU, we really do have to do something. We really have to deal with this challenge of our socio-economy. But we're not just dealing, when we deal with our socio-economy, as we are here, we are addressing all other social matters affecting our people. The issue of killing of our people, the mass killing of people, the raping of our women, even at the level of crime. We are saying that a lot has to be done to address these issues. But what we have seen is the opposite. Is that the government is privatizing everything. They're privatizing our country. They're privatizing SOEs such as Transnet. The infrastructure is dilapidating, is collapsing. The rail infrastructure, the road, which can be used to create massive employment, which is labor intensive. And we are saying that we need to really come up and do something as all social partners involved in the economy.
And I can see that you have other members coming from Swaziland present. Do they share the same sentiments as COSATU here in KZN?
Their situation is even worse, is even bad. We do have comrades that have come to our province, about around 160 of them, who are going to be participating in our march as well. Their situation is even bad because even the political system there is not in the favor of the people. The economic conditions are even worse in Swaziland. So in fact, this is what we are raising as COSATU is a global challenge facing the working class across the globe. The working class of the globe are suffocating, are facing dire situations, and therefore we are saying that those who control the means of production, the government and the business must do something. And we're also raising a concern and a caution about this fallacy that government cannot be a referee and a player. We know that is a neoliberal ideology which then seeks to render the government ineffective in terms of intervention when the capitalists are exploiting our poor masses. We are saying that the government has a lot to do at policy level and even in terms of resource deployment. Then our government must stand up and defend the masses, defend the poor people of this country.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Mfundo, that is eNCA, the Secretary of COSATU here in KZN, just basically taking us through why they are marching today. Of course, these marches will be done across the country. We are expecting for the one here in KwaZulu-Natal to begin at around 10:30, where they will march through the Durban CBD and hand over that memorandum at City Hall.
Yes, most certainly they are across the country, and we'll take you to the northern parts of the country, to Limpopo, where Muloko is on standby. Muloko, what are workers in Limpopo saying has brought them to the streets today?
Good morning, Mfundo. Yes, indeed, at the northernmost province of Limpopo, there's also activity going down at the provincial capital, Polokwane. Here, Mfundo, you have two union federations. On the one side of the park where these workers are assembling, you have members or workers affiliated to COSATU. They are on the other side of the park. But these ones that you see here, they are affiliated in the main to SAFTU, the federation that includes your NUMSA. But also, of course, you have other political parties such as the PAC, as well as members of the EFF. They are here. What seems to be happening, Mfundo, is that these two federations, that is COSATU as well as SAFTU, they don't seem to have agreed on the program of the day. All of them, both of them, for instance, will be marching to the office of the Premier as well as the provincial treasury, where they are going to be handing over memoranda of grievances. But they have organized to leave this particular assembling point at different times, which tells you that they really do not agree on certain things. But I want to ask my colleague Mukhumutsi so that he can join me as I speak to the second deputy president of SAFTU. Her name is Musima Maredi. Ma'am, thank you so much for making time. You as SAFTU are gathered here. COSATU is on the other end of the park. Firstly, why are you not joining forces, seeing that you are going to be marching to the same places?
Thank you, thank you. We are not saying we are not going to join together. We agreed this morning with the law enforcement to say we must merge and be together, because we are going to the same post. We are going to the Premier's office. So at the end, we are going to be together.
At the end, you say you are going to be together, but you say you will be departing here to the Premier's office at 10 o'clock, top of the hour. According to COSATU, their program will be starting here at 10 o'clock, and they will leave this park possibly after 30 to 45 minutes. Surely you are not going to be going there at the same time.
No, we are going to agree. We are still negotiating with our partners to say we will wait for them. Because remember, we are going to issue the memorandum to the Premier at 12 o'clock. It's not a problem that we can wait for them. Remember, their needs, our needs and their needs are the same. We are going to wait for them.
Tell us quickly about the demands as workers that you have. What do you want to see happening?
Firstly, we want to see ESCOM not increasing their tariffs. We want to see the minimum wage be increased to 12,000. We want to see public workers being hired, being police, nurses being hired. We want to see the CEO of TESCOM be fired, being fired with immediate effect. The routers and all of them being fired immediely, because we cannot wait for the time that we must be every day on dark. It might be it's either a load shedding, it's either load reduction. Now in the town there is no water, so people are. How can you live without a basic thing like water? Those are our demands. Our demand is that CEO of ESCOM must be fired. The routers.
But why do you think government will listen to you when you demonstrate? I mean, it's not as if you have not been interacting with them.
Remember, today is a shutdown. We think by this shutdown, the economy will be affected. And if the economy is affected, obviously the government will. But
it doesn't seem as if people have heeded your call. I mean, as we were driving in the CBD, it is business as usual. The number of people that have assembled here are not that many.
Yes, are not that many. Remember, all this shutdown is all over South Africa, and and here is in town, is in the city. There are some little shutdowns in the what do you call it, in the villages. In the villages, people didn't go to work. The ones that you see in town, I don't think they are affected by what we are affected. If ever they are affected, what we are affected by, be it load shedding, be it petrol increase, they should be with us here. We are still waiting for the buses to come. If you can see, the buses are here. They are offloading the people. People will still be in large numbers before we proceed to the Premier's office.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. Well, Mfundo, it appears that this is going to be a numbers game. It will depend on who will be having larger numbers between COSATU and SAFTU, because when you speak to the guys on the COSATU side, they are saying SAFTU must join them, must go over to their side. And whereas SAFTU is currently holding its own meeting on this side, it will depend, of course, as to whether they will in the end agree. But in terms of the police presence here, they seem to be in charge of the situation, and so far it's been peaceful.
No, a very, very worrying trend that we're seeing now of them assembling at different places. But this is not just happening in Limpopo. We saw also in Pretoria where they have assembled at different places. But hopefully at 10 o'clock they will be united, as they've stated that they are going to be uniting as the labour movement today. Moloko, thank you very much for that update, as well as you, Lethiwe. We'll catch up with you in just a bit. More news and updates on the other side. Do stay tuned.